What's up, you good folks at Iron Brigade? My name is North Supan. I am a member of the Iron Brigade Regiment of the Colonial side, also known as IBFF. Now, for today at the Colonial Coasts of Longstone, we're gonna be taking a deep dive through for the logistics class, how to salvage stuff at the salvage fields, refine them, and then progress them at the factory. So, without further ado, let's begin. So to start off, before going to a savage fields, refining or any of those stuff, you have to get yourself a truck or a flatbed considering what you're going to do. If you're going to salvage some scraps at the salvage fields, I would recommend a flatbed pack mule. Or if you're going for the really a little bit of stuff, a little bit of items and stuff, you could take the RN hauler. Where can you get that? You may be asking. Well, you could grab that yourself, 100 B mats at the garage. For the flatbed, I'm not so sure. But I would recommend looking at the seaport first on the public stockpile. If there ain't any, take a look at IBFF stockpile or IBFF overflow. How do you enter those kinds of stuff? First, you have to go to the seaport. Once you arrive, there should be a button that says press E at seaport. Once you press it, it will show you a bar, in which case you might get a little bit frustrated. Don't be scared. You find that it says stockpile. At the top right, it says public. That's every item you could see within the public stockpile. Now, move your cursor until you see vehicle. If you could find any flatbed within it, if it's public, press it. If there isn't, take a look at IBFF. There may be some flatbeds left. Once you grab yourself a flatbed, you head your way to one of these savage fields, for example, one here just past a little bit of Longstone, that's 113 left there. The next one we have 676, sorry, and the next one we have 213. So I'm gonna head to the furthest. As you can see, I've already arrived there because it's gonna take a long time if I show you me driving. Anyway, you go inside over there. You park your flatbed. You go down. You head to one of the crane which you could use to lower your resource container from your flatbed. The one on this left here is not the crane I'm talking about. You can see after that I am running towards another crane, in which case it has a very long and taller hand than this one. Once you get close to the crane, you press Q on it, and then if you're not in the primary seat, control 1. Once you're there, hold right, and then move towards your container. When you're on top of the container, after that, then you click left once, and then the container will start to carry it up. You find a suitable place to land it, and then you left click once again. It will lower your container. Once you have lowered your container, now you must bring up your sledgehammer. Don't forget to press tab and equip it first on your item slot. After you have equipped it, press 1. You should see a sledgehammer in your character's hand. And then you run towards one of the many scrap piles that are lurking everywhere within the salvage fields. Go towards them and start smacking them. Don't mind the harvester. You could go on, but right now, stick with the basics. I'm just kidding. As you can see right now, I am in the harvester. This is the oil it has. Not quite a lot, but enough to last this whole time. Also, I could refill it. So, if you have this is a late game vehicle, which is very good for mining stuff. When you go up to a scrap, you hold left click. It will start to mine it for yourself. You can see at the bottom left, it starts picking up all the scrap, and at the back of our harvester, it starts filling. So it can hold quite a lot of scraps, but it won't be enough for you to take it all the way to the refinery. I will believe that you should do as I said, bring a hauler or a flatbed to collect the scraps from behind the harvester. So you see, right now I am currently full. Once you're full, you go to the container. You can see down here, press E to use the container. Press E. It will put you up to this part. You can see stockpile, resource container. This is the inventory. If you put it in here, it is not submitted to the stockpile. That means you cannot use cranes or anything if there's something left in here. And also you cannot put it back in the reserve stockpile. So you can see my inventory down here, my backpack. That's my ammo, my hammer, which I'm swapped for my sledgehammer currently at the moment. And the rest of the scraps, you can see 100 stack each. I have about 7, which I'm full. I right click on it, you can see submit to stockpile. If you press that, it's only gonna take 20 of it. If you press submit all to stockpile, it's gonna take all of it to the stockpile. You see this was 201k, now it's 208k. And you proceed back to do what you did. So, once you're done filling up the resource container with scraps, you press E again on it, and you see this actions bar down below where there's 3 options. 1, submit stockpile items, which there's really no place to submit it. And 2, package it, which is the same as how we stick the container onto the flatbed down here. So we're going to press that again in order to transfer it on this crane to this flatbed. So once you package it, go onto the crane again. Press Ctrl 1 to switch to the primary seat to use the crane, and take it up, put it in the back of the flatbed. Once you have arrived in Longstone, head to the refinery. Get on the crane and take your resource container down to the marked area next to the refinery building. Next up, open the refinery menu, which should be popping up on screen. After that, hit basic materials or BMATs in order to make bandages. If you click once, it will transfer 100 stacks into the basic materials area. So as you can see, it's 10 to 1. That means every 2 scraps is made into 1 basic material. That's why we need a lot. But right now, you want to take every single piece of scrap onto making those stuff. So when you try to do this, press Shift and then click sign next to the basic materials. It will transfer all your scraps to making that. However, at this time we're making EMATs because those are more expensive to make and take longer time to process. So once after you have dropped off all your scraps to make those BMATs, or in this case we made EMATs, we're heading back to the seaport in order to submit our flatbed because we're not going to be using it anymore. In other cases, it cannot hold stuff other than raw materials, items they cannot hold. So what we're doing is we're going to the seaport, submitting it, and then we're getting out a RN hauler. Why this vehicle specifically? Well, it's because it's very popular in this cases. So we're bringing it out from the seaport. Remember how we brought out the flatbed? Yeah, it's the same way. We go into the crane, or in this case, in the middle of the seaport. We press E, and then we take a look at the stockpile. If there's public, take it. If there's not, look at the IBFF reservable stockpile or overflow. Take out a hauler, and then make your way back to the refinery. We're going back to take the refined materials at the refinery. Almost forget, you also have to submit the resource container by going on the crane and taking off the back of a flatbed and then submit it individually from the flatbed. Once you got hauler, you take it to a tanker somewhere at the seaport and then you refuel it. So as you can see, I cannot get that close, but that's okay. The range should be alright, I think. You can see, if you press E on it, you can see its inventory, where you could put the stuff, the items you manufactured from the refinery or from the factory. You can see the fuel here. Vehicles are refueled by equipment at appropriate fuel item. Yeah, whatever. You can see diesel here. This is your fuel amount. You can see there's only a little bit of fuel left. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press refuel like that, what I just did. Here, refuel diesel. And you can see it starts going up. That's when it's refueling. You could do this when you're close to a tanker like this, or if you have a diesel in your inventory, you could click on it so it will be prioritized in your item slot, where you could press 3 on it and it will pick the diesel out into your hand. You could go close to the hauler and then you hold left. It will start refueling for you. So after this, after you get a hauler and then you have drive all the way back to the refinery, you press E on the refinery. As you can see right now, the BMATs and stuff are being progressed. But we don't have much time. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna pick the BMATs first and then I'm gonna go make some bandages because that's what we need the most at the front lines. Also, not just bandages, but shirts. So once you have taken some BMATs, head to a factory. It looks like this, which in the map, it should be a picture of a factory. If you hover above it, it says that. Once you're there, press E on it, and you can see this production menu and this output menu. Check first at the output. Does your item require a queue, or if you're able to make it, it will set idle in your item type down here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make shirts, but you can see one green. It's gonna take a while before our stuff really gets made, but that should be okay. What we're gonna do is, we're gonna make some bandages. And you can see over here, these are bandages, used to stem bleeding. These are very expensive in BMATs, as you can see, it costs 160 BMATs, but we have enough to make 4. You press it 4 times, it's full over here, and then you press start here. You see, it's like 6.5 minutes before it's done. Now we're gonna do that the same with this factory across from it. Oh, as you can see over here, we could make only 3 bandages. If we make 4, it's not enough BMATs. We have to get more BMATs. As you can see, we only have 494. So I'm gonna click that one time to get rid of it, so we could only make 3. Now, you might be asking, where do you put the rest of the BMATs? Well, you could left it in the factory, or you could take it with you and then refuel the seaport. In this case, we do not have a full emergency stock of BMATs for our IBFF reservable stockpile, so I'm gonna go put it there real quick. So once after the 6 minutes that we have been waiting for our stuff at the factory to manufacture, the progress has been finished. So I would recommend you do not leave the game while this is going on, because after it is finished, in 30 minutes after that, it will become public and everybody could take it. So once you finish it, look at the output. 4 crates of bandages. You press check on this. After you finish getting that, you get the other 3 bandages you have been making. And with that, you can see you have 7 crates. Yay! What do you do with it? Well, in this tutorial, I am focusing on making the bandages. So this is for the public. I will put it in the public stockpile in the seaport, as you can see me doing here while I'm driving. Always stick to the right. That's what colonials do. We are not wardens. So once you have arrived, you press on public over here. You can see public like this. You click right on any of these. You click right on it. Submit all to stockpile. Every time you play, it takes like about 4 hours to do all this progress. So keep in mind, I am not sarcastic. It is true. It takes 4 hours for logistics to completely refine materials, progress them. These are just normal stuff. If you have to make 300 millimeter shells, 120 millimeter shells, or any other thing other than this, it will take longer than this. So be warned. Logistics is all about taking time and listening to countryside musics. With that out of the way, well, let's go back and deposit this hauler to our IBFF stockpile. Or I think it's public, I don't remember. So after you have successfully deposited your hauler at the seaport and getting every refined material at the refinery and the factory, also don't forget it turns public after half an hour. Then that's done for like one round of salvaging, refining, and processing materials. So if you have any problem playing in logistics, you can contact our IBFF members who are doing logistics there, or you could speak up in Discord. Anyways, that's all for today, folks. Come again next time when I make new videos of us doing operations like Vengeful Hellfire stuff or even